The Raptors just had a chance to seize control of this series, and they gave it away. Toronto came out the gates swinging, and the Cavs absolutely should not have allowed that. They needed to be the ones to dictate the pace in Game 5 with all the momentum lying with the Raptors after those back-to-back wins. Scottie Barnes continues to be the best player in this series on both sides of the floor. He did obviously sustain that injury last night. It did limit his effectiveness to an extent. But for me, he's still been the best player on either team in this series. In Game 6, they really do have to find a way to limit him offensively again. Defensively, you know the impact he's going to have, but just don't let him do it to you on both ends of the floor. This was a much better game offensively for both squads than Game 4, as should hypothetically favor Cleveland, but early on we saw the Raptors matching them blow for blow. Toronto's three-point shooting was unbelievable to start the game, especially after the disaster that was their Game 4 shooting percentages, but the Cavs did well to weather the early storm from Toronto, and Cleveland's backcourt came alive to end the first quarter. Not at all ideal for the Raptors to be hitting so many of those shots early on, but ultimately the Cavs were able to stick with it, keep it close, and as we all know, they did eventually pull away with it. Whereas Game 4 was all about half-court defense and both teams really locking in on the defensive end, not allowing any easy shots or any great looks at the basket. Game 5 was all about ball movement and shooting, which is something that should favor the Cavs. They ultimately should have won last night by more. They needed a fourth quarter collapse from the Raptors to pull it off. The Cavs cannot let Toronto be so effective offensively with the ability of the Raptors defense to potentially shut down the Cleveland offense at crucial moments. They do have to be better if they want to close this one out in Game 6. At halftime, it was a very close game. We had some incredible shooting from both teams in the half. Jacoby Walter went ballistic from 3 for the Raptors. The Raptors' aggressive on-ball defense was really bothering the Cavs. Ultimately, we saw that kind of taper off in the second half. Cleveland really got things going, but early on, it was still very much looking like Toronto had momentum on their side. The third quarter was absolutely critical for the Cavs. They finally got their front court finding some rhythm again early on in the quarter. That is a mismatch that they should be making a point of exploiting, with Toronto not having an answer to Cleveland's size at that position as long as Allen and Mobley are asserting themselves. Everything was falling for Cleveland in the quarter, but the turnovers were doing them no favors and they simply could not close the gap. In the fourth quarter, though, we saw Dennis Schroeder and Evan Mobley take over and save the Cavs series in the fourth, while Toronto's offense stalled at the worst possible time. This was an absolutely heartbreaking loss for the Raptors. This was a very winnable game and would have all but assured them advancing. But they now face, if they are lucky, back-to-back must-win games. And in a series where the home team has won every game, they can't love the idea of needing a Game 7 win in Cleveland to advance. And that's even if they can force it there, as although B.I. has not been a big part of this series, he is still a big loss for the Raptors, on top of already having Emmanuel quickly out for this series. Not a clean game for Cleveland by any means. They were lucky to shoot 50% from deep with 18 makes, and they did get pummeled in terms of assists, offensive rebounds, and fast break points. So they do still have a lot they can clean up for Game 6, and should honestly be feeling pretty good about pulling out a win, even after not playing their best overall ball by any measure. Although the home team is undefeated in this series, I do think that the Cavs can finish this one up north. The Raptors are banged up, and it is a different situation when a single win will advance you, which is where Cleveland finds themselves, and they absolutely won't want to squander it. So I expect them to leave everything out there and outduel the Raptors to take this one home in 6. But the Raptors have made this interesting all series long. We will see if they do the same in Game 6.
And that's going to do it. The home team has won the first 5. Cavaliers will take a 3-2 series lead